Kruger, what's going on?
Nothing. What's up with you?
Not much, man. Just hanging out. Trying to get this TNT app to work. So.
Yeah, it's not going so hot tonight.
I know. Yeah,
It was worked fine last week.
I know. I think the iPad's starting to crap the bed. So
I have an iPad. I think I got it in like 2011, early 2012.
Yeah.
And I swear, it's fine. Like, it works fine. But I swear Apple slows it down just because they want me to buy a new one.
Yeah, like the new software updates that they release.
Yeah, but literally, there's nothing wrong with it. It my daughter uses it 'cause she watches a little Disney Junior, but it's always like slow or just something to annoy you. And I'm not caving in. I'm not caving in and get a new one. It's perfectly fine. I know what they're trying to do, and I don't like it.
Yeah, what's going on? So last time we talked, some crazy guy was making bold predictions, calling for blood, retirement party. 45
So we're 0 for 2 on retirement parties. Ray Lewis, nope. Peyton Manning, nope.
Oh man, yeah, the game didn't go. I don't know if I'm gonna say the game didn't go as I thought it would. I got a little bit. I think the problem I made was I was thinking Tom Brady versus Peyton Manning.
Yep.
And I completely forgot about some other things. The Denver thing, playing in Denver, I understood that would be tough.
Yep.
Denver's defense came to play, huh?
Yeah, they did.
Yeah.
First after the game, first thing I thought after the game is even though they were a 2-point conversion away from tying it, they had no business winning that game. So like when they didn't get that, I was like, they didn't deserve it anyways. They had no business. First time, and afterwards I sat there. First time in a long, long time, right or wrong, I felt that's the first time a very long time I felt like they didn't look very prepared for that situation.
Yeah, it was weird. It was the thing that drove me nuts, and I didn't realize it happened until later in the game.
Yep.
Adam pointed it out to me, or maybe later after it happened. They chose to receive.
Yes.
And I hate when I feel like new coaches do that.
Yeah.
And new managers do that.
Yep.
They want to switch it up.
I didn't know they did it. I was still in the car. Like, I got home like 2 plays after the game had started. So I didn't hear it either.
Yeah.
I just assumed that they lost the toss and received the ball. And then after the game, someone brought it up, and I didn't even know it until after the game.
That right there told me that they were overthinking.
Yeah.
And I know it's a little thing, but I don't know. It was an uncomfortable feeling. Even after they scored the touchdown to bring it to 7-6, and then Gostkowski misses the extra point. Right when that happened, I was like, "Oh."
He did that, because you're down 7-0. Manning, boom, boom, boom down the field, whatever. And then you kind of muddle where you're punting, they're punting, and then they make the big mistake. And they score in 2 plays. And you kind of get that feeling, okay, now we're going to settle down. Then he misses the extra point, and I'm sitting there, I'm like, oh, it's going to be one of these days. It's just going to be.
Nothing's going to be easy.
Yeah, nothing. If they're going to win, it's going to be like 10-7. Like, it's just not. It's going to be a grind.
So a couple things. The Gostkowski miss, I thought, I mentioned to a few people, and I haven't listened to much sports radio, so if I'm being repetitive, I apologize. But what if he missed it at the end?
Yeah.
What if that was
the miss? Yeah,
to tie the game to send it into overtime and he missed. That would have been heartbreaking. And then the other, I haven't seen the highlights even. I didn't watch any of the news conferences. That last play on the 2-point conversion, I think I did read a quote from Talib.
Yep.
Or Talib, whatever his name is. Talib. He pretty much said, Chris Harris was supposed to blitz. He didn't blitz. He ended up covering James White out of the backfield. And James White was supposed to get the pass because of the blitz.
Yep.
And then Talib said at that point he was surprised. Gronk should have been his next. Like and again, I've never played quarterback, especially in the NFL.
Yep.
Never mind at a high school or college level.
Or in the backyard.
I've played quarterback. I've thrown a football, but not with 7 foot tall guys in front of me. I don't know. In that scenario, if my first option isn't there, I know where Gronk is, and I'm just throwing it in his direction. Doesn't he give you the best chance?
So I haven't watched the play over again because everyone keeps telling me how wide open Gronk was, and I don't want to know. But from what I understand, he was down the seam and then cut out to basically to the end line.
Yeah.
I guess you could say, and it was open. But you got yes, but I'll throw that back at you. So Julian Edelman's also one of those guys that he kind of looks to when his first option's not open.
And I think Edelman's reliable. I think they all are.
But Gronk's a freak of nature.
Well, see,
Yeah.
that's my thinking is Gronk's the biggest guy on the field.
Yeah.
He's the biggest target.
Yep.
So throw it to him. Hope he catches it.
Yeah.
And if not, I honestly don't even remember what happened on the last. They picked it off.
They
then
tipped it,
they
yeah.
picked it off
Yeah.
and they're running back.
Yeah.
Then there was a fumble.
Yeah. I don't think it matters, though. Once it's picked off,
Yeah.
he can go back and score 2 points, but for the team going for 2, once it's picked off, the play's over. The fumble doesn't matter.
We were watching, actually. We watched it at Adam's house. A few of us went over there. And we watched this most of the second half up until a couple minutes left.
Yeah.
We watched the second half in silence.
Really?
We muted Nance and Sims.
Yeah, it wasn't
and
pretty.
we were trying to get the radio broadcast. Adam didn't have. Do you have a radio at your house? Like if you wanted to, like I've got the Bose right there. I can listen to the Sports Hub.
We have
Shower radio.
We have like what do you for next to your bed alarm clock radios.
Okay, so
Yeah.
Adam didn't even have one of those. So we're trying to sync up. He's got the DVR and all that crap, and we're trying to sync up the radio.
Yeah, that's your problem. Is the radio's a little before.
It's a little
correct?
before. So
Yeah.
then even on the phones with the apps, you can listen to the Sports Hub, but
Yeah.
then the game's blacked out.
Yeah.
And they wanted you to pay like $50 to listen to it.
Yep.
But I was just surprised Adam didn't have a radio in the house. So anyways, we watched it on mute for most of the second half, and it's. I said this, I think, to my dad, or I said it to somebody, is so I watched the first Pats Super Bowl
Yep.
with Adam
Yep.
at his parents'
Junior
house.
year.
Junior year of high school?
Yeah.
Yeah, so way back then, I watched the first Super Bowl with Adam, and I think CJ, and maybe the same guys that were there the other day.
Yeah.
And we're standing in his living room, 15 years later,
Yeah.
and we're each holding our kid.
Yeah.
So it's like
Surreal.
it's surreal and it's fun, and you like to get into the game, and we're yelling at the TV. But as soon as they lost, I was like, okay, well, I got to go to work tomorrow, and I got to go home and do this, and
So
I'm holding my kid, and
you
there's more
know, so
important
it's funny
things.
you bring that up. So they lost, disappointed, very, very disappointed. I didn't watch the NFC Championship game. Now, 5 years ago, I wouldn't have watched the NFC Championship game because I was so pissed that the Patriots lost.
Yeah.
I didn't watch the NFC Championship game because once the game's over, my daughter's hanging on me. We're cooking dinner. We've got a million things to do. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And it's funny, like 9:15 rolled around, and I'm sitting in bed. I'm like, I don't even know the score of the NFC Championship. Like, I didn't even look up the score or anything.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. It's funny you said I didn't watch one second.
Yeah,
I haven't seen a highlight of the game.
Everyone talks about how great Cam Newton was. I was like, yeah, guess so. I didn't see a snap. Sorry.
I heard Warner threw a few picks.
Palmer.
I don't even know.
Carson Palmer.
Oh, Palmer.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm thinking Kurt Warner.
Yeah.
See, I don't know the quarterback. But I don't even know this. I don't know how many touchdowns Newton threw for, and I didn't look up the stats either.
Yeah.
But anyways, so Panthers and Broncos in the Super Bowl. Are you on board with everybody that thinks the Panthers are going to steamroll them? And
No.
so you think the Broncos? It's almost one of those scenarios where it's so lopsided.
And I have this theory.
Yeah.
Patriots fans are just all pissed off that the Broncos beat them, and they're just, it doesn't matter. The Panthers are going to kill them anyway.
Yeah.
No, it's not going to happen. Matter of fact, I think the Broncos are going to win.
Really?
And I think we're going to have to hear about Peyton Manning. And
jeez.
that is what it is, you know?
Yeah.
Maybe I don't think the Broncos are going to, but they're not like.
It's not going to be a Seahawks. Do you think it'll be a Seahawks Broncos Super Bowl? Like, what was that 45-8 or whatever it was?
You can't predict. That's an odd situation. But
Yeah.
no one went into that game saying the Seahawks are that much better than the Broncos. A lot of things went right for the Seahawks that day.
Yeah, that's true.
Part of it might have been Peyton Manning was quarterback, and he's not exactly the best in the Super Bowl. Just the whole game, just frustrating. One One situation that sticks out to me that no one's talking about, the field goal that the Broncos got at the end of the first half.
Okay.
So you're going into you settle down, you're down 7-6, and then it's everyone's playing in between the 35s, like no one's getting far enough to kick field goals, but so you're down 14-9, I think you drive a little bit, but at least flip the field. So my thought is you're down 14-9, you're saying, all right, that was a disaster, that first half, but you're sitting there down 14-9. Then they go down and kick a field goal. It's 17-9, and it's still a one-possession game, but it's just I felt like if they had kept it at 14-9 and said, hey, look, we're one touchdown away from taking the lead or 2 field goals away from whatever, it never got going. Never.
At the time we were watching the game, I didn't feel like they should have kicked the field goals. Looking back in hindsight, it's easy to say if they kicked a field goal and then they stopped them and then they kicked another field goal. Okay, then that last possession, you just need to kick a freaking field goal.
The first fourth down, I'm saying go for it. Because at that time,
yeah,
you've said, all right, we haven't got any. Well, the really only time you got down that close was when they turned the ball over and you started at their 20-yard line.
Yeah.
So you're saying we haven't been down there the whole time. Go for it. The second time, you're like, all right, maybe you think about it. But no, I've heard people both ways. I have no problem with going for it. The offense was, call it what it was. They weren't very good.
Brady looked terrible.
He did.
He looked like he was. I don't know. He looked like an amateur out there, and I hate to say that because I love Brady, but there was one play towards the end. He was doing like a weird dance, falling backwards, and it was almost like he got hit a bunch of times. In the last podcast, I played the opening.
Yeah.
Little clip. I think it was Danny Cannell. So you've got to hit him. Hit him
Yeah.
early and often. And not, personal fouls, but hit him.
Something enough.
Let him know you're there.
Exactly.
And I think the Broncos did just that.
Yeah.
To the point where later on and throughout the game, Brady's doing dances and he feels someone over his shoulder, but no one's really there. So.
Yeah.
So Patriots season ends. I'll also comment and say this. You get to a point being a Pats fan. They made it to the AFC Championship, the 5th year in a row.
Yeah.
You want it's amazing that they're at the point where if they don't win the Super Bowl, it's a disappointing season.
Yeah.
And I get it. It's because of the success. Did you think it was weird that what Manning said to Belichick?
No.
Don't you think? If you're Peyton Manning and you go up to Belichick and you shake his hand and say, "Bill, it's been a pleasure,"
Yeah.
or something subtle like everybody knows the scenario and Peyton's probably done.
Well, not only that, is he's done in Denver, and if he's going somewhere, it's probably with a average team.
But I don't know. I feel like Peyton Manning, like he was like, hey, Bill, I might retire. This might be the last. I don't think he had. I'm nitpicking, but I don't think he had to go and say all that.
Yeah.
I just feel like he could have shook his hand and been like, Bill, it's been a pleasure over these years and something. Good luck next.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just feel like he's the type of guy that knew the cameras are rolling and the microphones are picking up.
It could have been.
I also want to point out that I saw some pictures on Instagram of Peyton Manning after the game at his news conference and his kids there.
Yeah.
Did you know Peyton Manning had a kid? Have you ever seen Peyton Manning's kid anywhere?
No, but the only reason I know is because the year he had his neck injury and the Colts came to town. Peyton Manning came. He came to the game like he was sitting, in jeans or whatever. And Brady was mic'd up that game, and part of the mic'd up, they talked to him before the game, and he asked him about his kids. That's the only reason I know.
So I guess my point is a little bit of damage control of Peyton Manning, right?
Yep.
So if you got 2 weeks leading up to the Super Bowl, I don't know if any HGH stories have come out. Allegedly, the NFL's investigating. But I just thought it was a funny...
He denied it again today.
I just thought it was a funny coincidence that, Peyton Manning's got his kid standing behind him or standing next to him at a news conference. Almost like, oh, look at him. He's got his kid. He's so cute.
Yeah.
Oh, look at that family man. Like, I feel like there's some PR guy in the Manning family saying Peyton, you have to connect with the audience. You have to make them not hate you. Maybe they know something's coming down the river.
Yeah.
It wouldn't surprise me at all if nothing came out between now and the Super Bowl, but then a week or two after the Super Bowl, all shit hits the fan.
Yeah.
Because I think where there's smoke, there's fire. And I don't know. It's just the guy came off a neck surgery. I might even had 2.
Hey, someone brought this up today that I didn't realize is the NFL didn't start testing for HGH till like 2013.
Right. Yeah.
I didn't even think about that.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I
Maybe it was last year too. Maybe it was 2014. It was very, very recent.
yeah.
No more before the earliest 2013.
It's such they just cover up so much. It's insane.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't hear Manning deny it today.
I just, someone brought it up in a news conference, and he kind of just reiterated that it's garbage and blah 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 blah. So, I think we, and going back to the game, I think we kind of forget how just the situation with the NFL playoffs, one game. It's the thing. Hey, look, you go into Denver and you lose. Okay, so be it. They're a good team. That's fine. It just felt like they weren't prepared to start. I don't know.
What do the Pats do? Can Tom Brady repeat the type of year he had this year? Can he do it again next year?
I think so, but we also have to remember that 2 years ago, Peyton Manning threw 55 touchdowns, so it can go away pretty quick.
Yeah, it can.
Now, saying that, the biggest free agent that the Patriots have is LeGarrette Blount.
Right.
So everyone's coming back. Everyone's under it's the NFL. Guaranteed money, that stuff, cap number flies around. So then someone's going to get cut, but it seems like the team is intact.
It always seems like people are restructuring their deals.
Yeah, restructuring, or this guy's cap number goes up.
Mayo, I think his cap hit next year is like 11 something.
Yeah, he's going to get cut.
And Amendola's is like in there almost 8.
Really?
Yeah, so I keep an eye on that and see what happens with him. I don't know if he you're tough. All right, so you're in the NFL, right? And they come to you and they say, "Hey, you're going to make 8 next year.
Yeah.
Let's restructure your deal. Let's spread that 8 out over 3 years or
Yeah.
2 years, however it works." If you're the receiver, I don't know. I don't know how much it concerns them who's throwing them the ball. Like
Well,
would
if
you
you're
want
a Danny
Jameis?
Amendola or a Wes Welker or a Julian Edelman, you're getting beat up.
So you think you can go get your money and run, or what?
I try and get as much guaranteed money I can.
Yeah.
You're one hit away from just
So
not just your career going downhill. I mean, look how fast Wes Welker's career went down. He went from 2012 having over like 1,200 yards, and I think his last 3 years combined, he's had 12,000 yards. And he was getting balls thrown to by Peyton Manning,
Yeah, that's true. There's been talks of the Pats adding they need a big, strong receiver.
Yeah.
Calvin Johnson's name's been thrown out there. I don't know if he's a free agent or he's retiring or
I think
he
he's
wants
under
to be traded.
contract. I think he's under contract.
I keep hearing his name though, like he's I don't know, but
no matter what, their offense is based on the slot receivers. So you can get a big wide receiver. It doesn't change what their offense is going to do.
Any other thoughts on football? Do you want to talk at all about the Super Bowl or about the Cam Newton bringing up that he's a black quarterback? Do you want to talk about that at all?
No, not really.
Okay.
Do you have any thoughts on that? Are you hinting at it?
I read a quick quote on it, and I didn't listen to what he said or read what he said. So I don't really. I will comment that Cam Newton strikes me as the type of guy where he has a big stage now.
Yep.
He has everybody watching him.
Yep, and everyone knows who he is.
And if they don't, then he's going to make sure they will.
You will by the end of the week.
And it's frustrating, right? Because he's got that talent. I'm sure he works hard, he works out, but he's gifted.
Yeah.
And where some players have to focus on the game and study the playbook and work out, Cam Newton does that, but he also spends time every day probably rehearsing his touchdown celebrations.
Yeah.
So he has the ability to do that, enjoy it, you're young, do it. But I just have a feeling that he's the type of guy that will run out of the tunnel.
Yep.
And he'll have some shirt on that says whatever,
Yeah.
something matters or this and that. And I could see, like, the whole Oscar thing and people boycotting the Oscars. I just feel like he will use that stage to get some type of message across because I just feel like he's that type of guy.
Yeah.
Which, whatever, go for it. I don't know if the NFL will care. I don't know how much we'll get on TV.
They'll probably get fined $8,000 and hand it over in cash. And
But he strikes me as the type of guy, and we did a podcast a month or two ago, actually a while ago, where I said I like Cam Newton.
yeah.
And I think that was a technical difficulty one because
Yep.
it didn't get picked up.
Yeah.
But I said that I liked him, and I
He's
liked
growing
watching
on you,
him.
I believe
he was
was-
growing
yeah.
on me. But then the more I watch him, the more he annoys me.
Yeah.
And I don't know. He's not doing anything wrong.
Yeah.
He's really good. He's having fun.
Yep.
Like, why should you hate on the kid? He gives us his football after he scores to some young kid
yeah.
in the crowd. He seems like a decent guy. A little trouble at Auburn,
Yep.
but
Might have been paid to play there.
yeah, whatever. I mean, and we could talk about whether or not that's even
Yeah.
that bad.
Yeah.
Shaq came out yesterday and said LSU
yeah.
paid him.
Hey, did you see? Where was he? Jimmy Kimmel. That they announced there's going to be a statue of him in front of the Staples Center.
I didn't see Jimmy Kimmel, but I saw a picture of the
So
supposed statue.
what they did is, I think it was Kimmel. No, one of those guys. He was on the show, and they were going over all the statues that's out in front of the Staples Center, like
Yeah.
Kareem, all those guys. And then they put on the thing. They put the drawing of the one that the Lakers want to do of Shaq, and he's like, "What's that?" He's like, and they told him, they said they're going to make a statue of you, and he starts laughing. He's like, "Are you serious?"
Really?
He's like, "Yeah, no, we're dead serious."
Oh, they broke the news.
Yeah, they broke
on
the
show.
news on. It was pretty cool. I didn't see it live, but they showed it again the next day. It was really cool.
It's a statue of him
Dunking.
which
Yeah.
is pretty cool. Like
Yeah.
hanging on the rim.
So I saw the picture of it, and the first thing I was like, "How are you going to make that into a statue?" So I'm very interested to see, do they hang it off of something or like? So, but no, I think it was pretty cool.
Hey, did we talk about this? Are they going to retire Kobe's both of his numbers? 8 and 24.
So I think someone brought this up, and they thought they should retire 8, not 24.
Really?
Yeah.
He won.
How many-
I
how
think
many-
he won 2 with 24.
How many do you win in 8? 3?
He's got 5 total.
Yeah.
He won 3 with Shaq.
What are you going to remember at? You obviously you can't retire both. Well, I guess you could.
I think
but
he can.
do you retire one and kind of say, "All right, we're not going to wear 24"? You know.
I would.
In the NBA, you probably could because you only have 15 people on the team. So
Yeah, I would retire both.
Yeah.
And why did he change numbers? The whole process of changing numbers.
it's
in
like
the
a year
NBA,
process.
Yeah,
You have to do it a year
apply.
before. You have to apply the NBA. This is with multiple sports. You have to, you have to apply for it. The NBA has to, agree to it. It's a process.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. Kobe starting in the All-Star game. Any issue with that?
So is he officially? I didn't hear this start.
Well, he got voted in.
Okay.
He got
Yep.
voted in by the fans to start in the All-Star game.
No. If he wasn't retiring this year, yes, but I can deal with it for a year.
KG's probably yeah, I don't know. Someone brought up the point that Kevin Garnett could be his last year too. So why not send him
If
to the
that's the
All-Star game?
case,
He just hasn't come out and said it. I think he signed a 2-year deal. He's got another year left, but
I kind of wish he came out and would say it so we can say our goodbyes.
Celtics.
Although he's already been to Boston this year, though.
Yeah. Celtics 5 wins in a row.
Yep.
I think they're sitting right at that 5 seed
Yeah.
right now. So I made last time it happened. Isn't the NBA so streaky?
Yep.
1 week they're the 5 seed, 1 week they're the 9 seed, 1 week they're the 3. Haven't been as high as the
Yep.
3 seed. But you've got the Cavs. Oh,
They're not far off the
We're
3
talking
seed.
about the Cavaliers.
Let's start with the Celtics.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the Celtics 5 wins in a row. They're sitting in the 5 seed. They're like a game out from the 4th seed,
Yep.
which I believe is Chicago.
Yes.
And then the Hawks.
Who I believe they've won 2 or 3 against.
Yeah. And then the Hawks are at the 3 seed.
Yep.
But the Celtics are only 2 games behind them.
Yep.
And then it's the Raptors and the Cavs, which, the Raptors have been won a bunch of games in a
Yep.
row. It's interesting to see how
We
this.
won't be able to see how they do in this game because it's frozen.
Yeah, it's frozen. Whatever. Maybe it'll come back out. But the I don't know. What do you see? Isaiah Thomas is an all-star.
Yep.
I think the first all-star the Celtics have had since the KG
Yep.
Pierce era.
Yep.
Rondo was probably the last all-star, I bet. I don't know off the
Probably
top
that
of my
same
head.
year though, because even when it was just him, he wasn't.
Really?
He might have been. I don't know.
Anyways, yeah. So what do you think? You think they're heading in the right direction? Obviously, the trade deadline's coming up. I mean,
Very torn.
yeah.
Because the way you ultimately you look at it and you say you need a superstar to win. You do. That's the bottom line.
You need a superstar to win a championship.
Yeah. But at the same time,
At least one.
Yeah. At the same time, now I am not saying they're going to win a championship this year. But you look, so they're the 5 seed, right? 1 seed is the Cavs, best team in the Eastern Conference, right?
Yes.
Agreed. It is what it is.
And remember, he just said that. Best team in the Eastern Conference. Keep going.
Okay. 2 seed Raptors, right?
Pretty good team.
Pretty good team. Do you feel confident if they were to play the Celtics? Celtics were to play Raptors?
I was confident the Celtics would beat them.
Yeah.
I don't.
Or at least push them to a.
I think Toronto. I think Toronto's a good team.
Yeah.
But I think the Celtics could give them a run for their money.
And the 3 and 4 seed, the Hawks and Bulls just don't scare me.
Yeah.
And I'll throw it back. The Bulls don't scare me even with Joakim Noah.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
The Celtics have proven they can beat them with Noah.
Okay.
They beat him with everyone healthy.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you're like, God, if you just went out and got one superstar, now are you up there above the Raptors?
So you
But you would have to mess the chemistry of the team because you're going to have to give some. They're not just going to take all draft picks.
yeah. So that's we exchanged texts. And
Unless you're giving them like 7 draft picks.
Well, okay.
Yeah.
So DeMarcus Cousins, right?
Yep.
Which I don't think Sacramento would trade him.
By the way, I texted Mike this. The Kings are currently the 8th seed.
Yeah, I don't think the Kings.
So they're not as bad as everyone thinks they are. Now, part of it is the 8th seed in the West is below 500 right now.
Really.
Yeah, they're like 2 games below.
The
The East is better than the West overall right now.
Yeah. Well,
The problem is the West top 4 are probably better than pretty much everyone else's.
right.
top.
You
yeah.
have the Warriors playing the best team in the West, play the best team in the East, and they win by 40 points.
Yep.
At the Eastern Conference.
Yeah.
And Cleveland.
Yeah.
How about the Warriors blowing out the Spurs
Yeah.
too?
And you got this. Look, if you know the Spurs are going to be there,
Yeah.
and the Thunder are really good, and the Clippers are playing better than without Blake Griffin
Yeah.
than they were with him.
Yeah. So you mentioned to me DeMarcus Cousins. What does this team do? And I don't know. I don't think the Kings would trade DeMarcus Cousins right now. But if I were the Celtics and you're gonna make a trade for a quote unquote superstar,
Yep.
I mean, there's who look. Do you even bother calling the Pelicans about Anthony Davis? They're not gonna listen to you, are they?
Only one way to find out.
Call
them.
I'm trying to think of some bad teams.
I would think no. They wouldn't.
You know, you gotta call the Nets and try to trade with them again.
You're gonna have to get
The
creative.
Sixers.
You're gonna have to get creative. You're gonna have to find that team that just might be willing to trade one of their guys for some.
Thunder aren't gonna trade. They're not gonna trade Durant.
Nope, because they're right there in the thick of things.
So I threw a name out to you. I think a while ago, Damian Lillard.
Yep.
In Portland. I really like him.
Yeah.
I think that guy can ball and he can score. He's another little small guy, so you would be pretty small with Isaiah and Damian
Yep.
back there. But I don't know. His name just struck me.
I don't know. Kevin Love. Heard some rumors they're looking
Kevin
to
Love?
dump his contract.
I would trade for absolutely. I would trade for Kevin Love. Absolutely.
Dare I say, Blake Griffin?
Now you're throwing some names in there. I like it. Blake Griffin. Yeah, I would trade for Blake Griffin. Absolutely.
The more I've heard about this fist fight,
Yeah.
the more I think it was 2 friends that it just got a little out of control.
Okay, so Blake Griffin is going to miss the next month
Yes,
because he broke his hand punching.
Now he hasn't played since Christmas with another injury.
He had like a groin injury.
Yeah, groin injury.
So Blake Griffin was out to eat or at a restaurant with the equipment team equipment manager, one of them.
Yeah.
Maybe a couple other people.
Who reportedly is a very good friend of his.
Yeah, they're supposed to be really good
Might not be
friends.
right now, but was.
And they left the restaurant, and Blake Griffin ended up punching the guy.
Yeah.
And broke his hand. So he's going to be out. You mentioned the Clippers have been winning without him.
Yeah.
Maybe, yeah, and it's like you said, the incident was probably isolated, random, between
I
two
could be
friends.
wrong.
It's not like he has a violent streak.
Yeah, but we've never, you've probably never broken your hand punching a friend, but we've all gotten mad at friends before, and kind of. I don't know. I could be wrong. I just feel like it might have been a little out of control.
They could have been drinking, and they.
Yeah, and you know what? For all we know, he
said something.
Yeah, very apologetic afterwards. Hey, I didn't mean to break your face.
Maybe he didn't really break his face. He just broke his hand.
Yeah.
Okay, Blake Griffin, Kevin Love. All right, now you're talking. Keep going.
Those are you've got to get creative. I think you've got to get creative.
And those are big guys that can score and rebound.
Yeah.
And I like the Lillard thing, but he's a little guy.
I think you're looking more big. You have 1 million point guards.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you know who I think is the guy that they might trade is Avery Bradley.
Now, I like Avery Bradley.
Now, the reason why I say that is because I read a report that he's not happy with his contract.
Yeah, I read that too.
Even though he signed it last year.
And he's a steal right now.
Yeah.
He's getting paid $8 million a year.
Yeah.
Which is insane. There are guys in the NBA I don't even know.
Making 70.
Who are making 5 and 75. Like Chris Middleton from Milwaukee or something.
That's the guy he brought.
Who the hell is that guy?
70, yeah.
I don't know who that guy is. I like Avery Bradley. I really do. I really like Avery Bradley.
And he's scoring now, too. He's not when he was here with the big three, he was just, all right, play defense. He's scoring. He put up 28 the other night.
Yeah. I like.
The problem is you're at that point where whoever you give up, you're probably going to be like, God, I really liked him.
So that's why you have so many draft picks. So why?
Hey, I've always said use the draft picks. Don't draft people. Use them to get a big name.
So use the package 2 first-rounders and send them and
send them the Nets pick or something.
I would part ways with Sully.
Yeah. Really?
Yeah, I would. He would be one guy that if they packaged with the picks, it wouldn't bother me.
Yeah.
Marcus Smart, Avery Bradley, I don't want to see go. Crowder's not going anywhere. So but it would be interesting to see. So the Cleveland Cavaliers, who are the best team in the Eastern Conference, they're in first place. They win a game on a Thursday night.
Yeah.
And then the next day they fire their coach. They lost in the NBA Finals last year. LeBron comes out and says he has nothing to do with it.
Yep.
I don't think people are being as clear with him as they should. I think people are going to him and saying, did you go to so-and-so and tell them to fire David Blatt? He's saying, no, I didn't. Of course he didn't do that.
Yeah.
But were there rumblings, and did he maybe say some things to a few people who got back, hey, this guy's got to go, hey, you got to, and then they went and ran and talked to the Absolutely.
Yeah.
But did he go into the GM's office and say, hey, you got to get rid of this guy? No, probably not. But come on, dude. You're going to tell me you had, come on. So
now there's rumblings that he wanted Spoelstra out, too.
I know.
I read that something.
So I read that. I read that they wanted. So David Blatt was brought in to coach a rebuild.
Yep.
Younger guys. Because right from the beginning, that pairing.
Weird, yeah.
It was a weird pairing. Just never seemed like it was.
Well, when he signed, one of the first things someone said was oh, well, Blatt's probably out then because he's going to want to bring his own guy in.
So I read that Lou was actually one of the candidates too.
Yeah.
To get the job before Blatt did.
Yep.
And he ended up jumping on board as an assistant, and he ended up taking over being the coach now. But I also heard Mark Jackson's name.
I did read that,
wanted Mark Jackson. I think Cleveland's paying 3 coaches right now. Lou, Blatt, and I think they're still paying Mike Brown.
Really?
Yeah. So I like Tyronn Lue. The funny thing is now, going into the All-Star game,
he's going to coach the All-Star
the way
team.
the NBA does it is the teams the best records.
Well, why is Popovich coaching the All-Star game?
Oh. So is it from the finals? No, because then
yeah.
Steve.
It'd still be Kerr, unless Kerr said he didn't want to do it.
Now I'm really confused because I thought the NBA did it where
They usually do, where the top teams in each league. So Major League Baseball does it where the last year's World Series teams, they coach it.
Yes, they do.
NBA does it where the top, whoever at a certain point, whoever's leading the East and whoever's leading the West gets to do it.
Yeah, so why is Popovich doing it?
Unless Kerr said he didn't want to do it.
Yeah, that must be it, huh? Because, like, Luke Walton. Imagine if it was like Luke Walton coaching the Western Conference against Tyronn Lue in the East. Oh, God, what's going on? I'm surprised then because that's a good point. I didn't even think that. Why is Tyronn Lue doing it then? I would have been like, dude, you've been coaching for 3 games.
Give it to what's his name, Raptors coach.
Yeah.
At least he's been there a whole year.
Who's the Raptors coach? Not Sam Mitchell. Sam Mitchell.
No, I don't think so. I can't remember. I don't know. At least they're the hottest team in the East.
Is it, I can picture him right now in my head. Anyways, so that's interesting. That's going on in the NBA right now. We didn't talk about this last week and all, but you spent the weekend with the Red Sox.
Yeah.
How was that? How many autographs did you get?
So I didn't get too many.
So the Red Sox started this thing last year, the year before?
Last two years ago.
So
they did it 2 years, and this is it's been around for like 3 or 4 years, but it's the second year they've done it at Foxwoods.
Okay, so what is it? It's called like Red Sox Winter
Weekend, and basically it's a weekend where all the players are there, coaches, there's alumni.
Everybody was there. Clemens was there. Pedro was there.
Clemens was there. Pedro was there. Fred Lynn, Jason Varitek.
Wade Boggs was there.
Wade Boggs was there. Pretty much all the players except for Pablo Papi.
Yeah, why wasn't Ortiz there?
I don't know.
David
weird. Price was supposed to go but couldn't get into town because he was in because of the winter storm. Kimbrel wasn't there, but other than that, pretty much everyone was there.
Oh wow.
So it's like an interactive thing where they do Nesson's broadcasting, WEI's broadcasting. They have a big room full of different things you can do, and off to the sides they have different rooms and like different, I don't know, I guess you can call them workshops, where like one of them was Dombrowski and Hazen, and you can ask them questions and ask, and then one of them was this year was the 86 team, so they had like Clemens, Lynn, Boggs, all those guys from the 86 team, and then one of them was with the infielders, the outfielders. Pedro and Varitek did one, which was outstanding.
Yeah.
We're in the middle of it, and Jen's like, "Are you crying?" I'm like, "No, no."
It's just dusty in here.
Yeah, it's a little dusty in here, but I mean, it's awesome because you're kind of walking around with them. The guys are walking around all the time.
Yeah, you're like bumping shoulders.
Yeah, and while the thing is going on, there's people around them because they don't want to get hounded with autographs. But like, before it, me and Jen, because we parked at the other end of Foxwoods and we're walking through, and guys like Farrell's just walking through, just wearing whatever we're wearing, and it's really cool because I'm like a 10-year-old with this stuff, but like it's good for people our age, but it's great for something you'd want to bring your kids to.
Yeah. I was going to ask you. I feel like sometimes what the Red Sox. I feel like it's some of the stuff they do can be corny.
Oh, it's corny, and there's part of this thing is corny.
Yeah.
Because so here's the best way to put it. So you take like something like so the thing that Varitek and Pedro did, it was called Battery Mates, and it was basically like a Q&A about pitching and catching, but it's not necessarily meant for learning how to pitch and catch. So you can ask questions, and like one question's asked by a 45-year-old guy, the next guy was a 9-year-old kid.
Yeah.
So
Did you ask any questions?
I asked Dave Dombrowski about. I couldn't get to the Pedro and Varitek because the line was like, so they just put a microphone up there and the line was like out the door. I'm like, I don't know if I'm gonna make, and it's only like 50 minutes. I asked Dombrowski about opt-out clauses. And I'm very interested to see where these go.
Okay.
And
what was your question?
My question was where do you see them? Do you see this becoming more popular? Because remember, Manfred came out and he's basically said, I'm not for this.
Yeah.
And I go, is there any benefit to the team to doing it? And he's like, no, there's no benefit to the team. I was like, so
follow-up questions.
yeah, I go follow-up question. I'm like, so why? Like,
oh, you did ask?
Yeah, so I'm like, well, then why? And he's like, it's kind of just how business is done now.
Oh, wow.
So he did say that the Price contract was the first time he ever put an opt-out clause in a contract.
Yeah, because that's like you mentioned, opt-out clauses. Cespedes just re-signed with the Mets for 3 years.
That's why, and and it was funny. The night that happened, the night before we went there and we were in that thing. I almost brought it up, but they're tight on time. So, and I almost to a point feel like why not just sign him to a 3-year deal then? Like for Price, he has an opt-out after 3 years. Yeah. Like clearly you're giving him 7 years because you'd like him to be around for 7 years.
Yeah, I guess it's the player. I mean, I guess it must. I don't understand how it would benefit the team.
Yeah.
Because if in year 3 the guy blows out his elbow, he isn't opted out.
Yeah.
But if he has a really good year, he's gonna opt out and either make you pay him more or go somewhere else. I don't understand how that helps the team.
So they
unless you try to trade him, but I don't know. I don't know.
And the other thing is, you really don't know if he's gonna opt out. Like you can hearsay in the the media, and I want to be here forever. I love it here. Blah blah blah. And then when the opt out October 1st, he calls you September 30th and says, "Yeah, I'm opting out."
So David Price signed 7 years?
Yeah.
And we've talked about this before too, but say you win 2 championships in those 3 years.
Yeah.
Or you win 1 championship in those 3 years. Like, I don't know. The more I think about it, would you stay? I see him opting out after 3. The only way he doesn't opt out is if he sucks.
Well, the only positive I see is if he's opting out, he's probably been really good for 3 years, and in turn, that means your team's probably really good.
Yeah.
So you can at least look back and say, well, we were really good those last 3 years.
We got 3 really good years out of David Price.
But yeah, it's a really cool event. They do have like an autograph. So what they do with the autographs is they send you an email, and there's autographs from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. and you get an hour time slot. And within that hour time slot, there's 4 separate rooms, A, B, C, D. But they don't tell you what players and when, because if they were to put hey, Pedro's at 11 o'clock, everyone's going to go. So you don't know who you're going to get autographs with.
Oh, really?
So my sister and her boyfriend were there, and I think me and Jen were in room A, and she was in room D. And you get in there, and I had Noe Ramirez. No, and you take a picture.
Manny Ramirez?
Noe Ramirez. If it was Manny, it would have been outstanding. And you get an autograph and you take a picture. And Brock Holt was there, which was cool.
Yeah.
And my sister. So I text my sister. I was like, "Who did you get?" And she's like, we have Jason Varitek and I think John Farrell or something. I was like, you've got to be kidding me. So
that's why did they ask you whether when you signed up or got there, did they ask you not to bother the players if you saw them?
No.
So were people could did you bump shoulders? Because you spent the weekend there, right?
Yeah.
So did you?
We stayed over Friday night off, not at Foxwoods, but yeah, we were there the whole time. Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. So I was curious if you ran into them outside of the event and were able to talk to any of them,
not
in
really.
the elevator or.
Not. Yeah. Look, they were very cordial. Whether it be the alumni, the coaches.
Yeah.
I think, and they definitely had people walking around with them. And the only time I saw someone say is when Roger Clemens was rocking, guys wanted his autograph. Then they just said, "Hey guys, no autograph." But he was honestly, he was nice. Roger, he seemed like he was shaking everyone's hands.
He looked good.
He did. I told Jen, I go, he could still pitch.
He looked good.
Yeah,
he looked trim.
Yeah, he looked really good.
Yeah.
But Steve Lyons was there and.
He looked like a hot mess.
Yeah. So my wife's favorite movie is For Love of the Game, and he's one of the broadcasters in it.
Yeah.
So that's literally the only reason she knows him.
Oh, really?
And he looked like he looked stoned the whole he had the long blonde hair, the Hawaiian shirt, whatever, and he was fairly he would walk around but people don't know him as well.
Yeah.
But it's cool. I was telling someone today, it's cool because. like our dads could go because they watch Fred Lynn and Wade Boggs, but our kids can't go, but the young kids can go because they look up to guys like Bogarts was there and Pedroia, and they know
Buckholz.
Pedro, and so. Actually, Buckholz wasn't there. Now that I think about it,
Joe Kelly was there.
Joe Kelly was there.
He was there.
Yeah, he was there. Hanley was there.
Was Uiara?
No, Koji wasn't there.
Yeah, it's funny because I saw a picture. I go, oh, it looks like everyone's there except for Pablo. And
Yeah.
then as soon as you said David Price and David Ortiz, I was like, oh crap. I was like, wow, they weren't there.
It's funny. So I never. So they send you a list of like guys that are going to be there and alumni that are going to be there.
Yeah.
Expected to be there. So it was an impressive list, and I for some reason just assumed Poppy wasn't going to be there. Figured it's his 14th year, and
Yeah.
And the first night, did you watch the Nesson Town Hall on Sunday night?
No, I didn't.
No, so they did that it was actually filmed on Friday night. We went to
I
it
saw
on
some.
Friday night.
I saw some highlights. I saw when Brock Holt did the jersey.
Yeah. And so they brought the whole team out beforehand and just kind of, they didn't really do a whole lot. They just kind of introduced them. And the first thing I'm thinking is Pablo's not here. And the only reason I bring it up is because I feel like that'd be an event he should go to.
Yeah.
Like Hanley's there. Hanley's there, and Joe Kelly's there, and Rick Porcello was there. So you just feel like it was, especially after that year.
Ortiz there.
You like Ortiz, everyone's gonna love him.
Yeah.
But like Dustin Pedroia doesn't need to be there; he's there.
Yeah.
And me and Jen were talking about it on Friday night. I would imagine some of them, it's probably in their contract, or imagine they get paid a little bit to do it, and
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me.
or at least that they don't pay for their travel or anything. So.
Would you do it again?
Absolutely. We actually talked about doing it again next
Really?
year.
Making it like an annual thing?
The last thing we did, they did a game show with the alumni, players, and coaches. I haven't laughed that hard.
Really?
Oh, it was so funny. They
No
did
kidding.
lip sync battles, and oh, my goodness.
That's pretty cool.
Hanley Ramirez, I don't know what he's going to do on the field this year. He is one funny guy.
Is he?
Oh, he is hilarious.
I was thinking about it, right? Because I was watching some highlights from the weekend, and
Yep.
I was actually watching some Nesson over at June Street, and I was expecting you to be one of the guys standing behind the camera, well, like Eck and Tom Karen were
Yeah.
TC, but I didn't see you. What's the vibe you're getting on this team right now? Because I feel like a lot of things have to go right. Or am I
It's
am I
tough
getting
to
the wrong
not get
read?
it's tough to not get a good vibe at something like that.
Right,
You
so
know.
I'm thinking.
I'll tell you one thing: Hanley has not gotten any smaller. He's huge.
Is he really?
Yeah, he's I didn't stand next to him, but when we were leaving, I kind of tried to get as close as I could and
Size him up.
He is a big dude.
Really?
he is a big dude. Yeah.
So I'm thinking the outfielders. Let's say they go into next year with their outfield looking like JBJ in center,
Yep.
Mookie in right. Help me out,
Castillo, right?
Jesus.
Yeah.
Castillo in left.
Yep.
And I'm thinking, where is the pop, right?
Yeah.
Like, where's that big bopper?
Yeah.
And then I'm like, you know what? Do they need a big bopper? Because then I'm thinking, all right, Kansas City. I'm thinking of their outfield. Gordon in left, Kane in center.
There's
And
some power there, but you're not going to get a 45 home run guy out of that.
Right, so
Yeah.
I'm thinking, and what was it? Who's in right for KC? Armando Rios? Was that
Yep.
Alex Rios?
Yeah, Alex Rios. Yep.
So I'm thinking, all right, well, Kansas City didn't have a big outfield.
Yep.
I'm like, all right, so the Sox, I'm like, defensively, they're going to have the best outfield, one of the best outfields in baseball.
Absolutely.
Castillo on left, everyone left, who knows?
Yep.
But center and right, be very hard pressed to find a ball dropping.
Yeah.
So then I'm like, all right, we'll go to the infield. And I'm like, third base, Pablo. And I'm like, all right, well, yeah. Then I'm like, Xander at short. And I'm like, oh, Xander's really good.
Yeah.
Then I'm like, Dustin at second and Hanley at first. And I'm like, all right, well, there's your pop a little bit, right?
Yeah.
Like Hanley at first.
Yep.
But that's what, him and Ortiz are really your only home run hitters on the team.
Yeah.
Mookie might get you 20
Yep.
for a full season, or not full season, but, behind the plate, Blake Swihart's not going to.
But you got Vasquez coming back.
Yeah, Vasquez. So I'm thinking this team doesn't have.
Can I stop you there for a second? At one of the town hall questions was this little, and it's the best when the 8 and 9-year-olds ask the question.
Oh, yeah.
So they have all the players out. So both Vasquez, Swihart are there, and Hannigan is there too.
Yeah.
And the kid goes to Farrell. He's like, "What are you going to do with the catching position?" And it's like, ugh. Is it getting a little hot in here or something?
He probably gave us some political.
Yeah, he did.
politician
Because the
answer.
kid was like just asking about Swihart and Vasquez. And he's
Yeah.
like, don't forget about Ryan Hannigan. You know, the kid's like, yeah, I don't even know what that is.
Who?
Yeah.
I don't know. Then you got the pitching staff, and we've got plenty of time to break this down, and we've got our prediction podcast coming up. But I'm excited for the season.
20 days, March 18th, or excuse me, February 18th.
Injuries are going to happen.
Yep.
People are going to get hurt. But they've got an ace, and they've got a decent staff, and they've got a.
Do you see any
closer.
bounce back years from guys in the rotation?
I have no faith in Clay.
Like, can you sit there and say, I think Porcello can be an average 3?
Average 4.
Yeah.
What's good for Porcello? 15-10 with a 4 ERA.
I'd take that.
All right. So what's good for Joe Kelly? 15-10 with a 4. Like, can the team get by with David Price going 18-5 with a 3 ERA?
Yep.
And then Eddie Rodriguez going 15-10 with a 3 ERA.
Yeah.
And then 3, 4, and 5.
It's just
Being between 4 and 5. Can they get away with that? I don't know.
I don't have a whole lot of faith in Joe Kelly. I'm
No?
sick of hearing about this stuff. I'm sick of hearing about he's got so much potential. I mean, at some point you got to prove it, no?
I think that guy's got more freaking talent than he knows what to do with.
Yeah.
I didn't realize he was getting paid so little, and it's millions of dollars.
Yeah.
But on the scale of big things.
What is it, 3 or 4?
Yeah, they avoided arbitration and signed
Yeah.
him to like a $3.5 million deal. I'm like, no wonder why they kept him.
Yep.
Because even if worst case scenario, it's like $3.5 million to them as pennies. So
And they did trade away Miley. I forgot about that.
sent Miley packing to Seattle.
It's kind of your consistency. Their bullpen's really good, though.
That kid from where did they get the relief pitcher from?
Carson Smith?
Yeah, was that San
Yeah, that was
Diego?
the same deal. That was the Miley deal.
Seattle. Okay,
Yeah.
it was the Seattle.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think he closed out a few games for Seattle.
Yeah.
I think that kid's going to be good. Kimbrel, Uehara,
Dude.
Tozawa,
That's really good arms.
Yeah,
that's a lot of really good arms.
they lost my man Rich Hill, but he's going to be good in Oakland.
But see, here's the problem in that division. You're looking at probably the best lineup in the AL, in the Blue Jays, arguably.
They didn't lose anybody, did they?
No, they just lost Price.
Offensively, yeah.
Offensively, they didn't lose anyone. Probably the best bullpen in the AL with the Yankees.
Yeah, I'd give the edge to them.
And
They have 3 closers.
the Rays have arms.
But here's the thing with the Yankees, and I think I sent you the stat. I think they were something ridiculous, like 80.
How much better can you get?
Yeah, they literally were like 81-3 after leading in the 7th inning last year. And then they go and add Chapman. So, I mean, those 3 wins, you can be 85-0?
Yeah.
Which is good, I guess, when it comes down to a few games here and there, but they're
Bullpens
bursting.
are weird.
Yeah.
Like, you think you got it all figured out, and someone just stays healthy but sucks.
Yeah. Stays healthy, sucks.
Yeah.
Shows up to spring training, can't throw a curveball.
Yep.
Who the heck knows?
Puts on 10 pounds.
Puts on 10 pounds. Yeah, baseball can't come soon enough. The MLB, I guess a lot of fans sued or were going to sue Major League Baseball. They're going to go to court.
Yeah.
Because they have the MLB package.
Yeah.
And you couldn't buy the MLB package for just one team.
Yeah.
You had to buy the whole thing.
Really?
Yeah, so if you're a New Englander, you moved to San Diego, you had to buy the whole package. And when you buy the package, your local games get blacked out. So if you or I bought it right now, the Sox games, we won't get them.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Anyways, fans challenged it. Before they went to court, they settled. So now MLB will sell you
just your
team.
That's
and
pretty
it's
cool.
like $90 instead of $110.
It's
So I
something
mean,
stupid,
It's at that price range where you're like, oh, I might as well just buy the whole thing. But if you're gonna pinch some pennies, then you can just buy your own team now. And I think they may be doing the same thing as basketball because
Where you can
basketball
purchase a game.
you
like,
can just
yeah.
purchase But the other night I was gonna purchase the Spurs Warriors.
Yep.
But it was on NBA TV.
Yeah.
So I couldn't purchase it. And I would have fallen asleep
I was
anyways.
good.
I missed
You
it,
know what?
but-
It's funny. I remember I was looking at the schedule, and you're like, you're going to purchase this game. For some reason, I just thought it was in San Antonio. It was in Golden State. I'm like, ooh, 10:30
Yeah.
start. That's tough.
Not going to see
Yeah.
the tip-off, purchase that game, and then not be able to watch it. So we're getting down to the wire here on another successful podcast. Anything else going on in the world of sports that you want to touch
You got a
on?
hockey take?
That guy who hit the referee?
I haven't seen it yet.
Oh, you haven't seen it?
No.
All right, so Dennis Weidman, who I think used to play for the Bruins.
Someone said Lucius did something too to a ref too.
No, Luch didn't do anything. Well, I saw Luch sucker punch somebody.
Oh, okay.
So he got slashed,
Yeah.
and no one saw it. And then he was like, "Oh, that really hurt," and the play stopped. And then he skated up and punched the guy.
Yeah.
The guy fell down, I think, but
Yeah.
it wasn't like the guy was unconscious or anything, and he got kicked out of the game. But then Dennis Weidman, you didn't see it?
I heard about it. I haven't seen it yet.
He was skating off the ice, and he honestly was looking. He was had his head down and was looking to the side, and he looked up, and the ref was there, and he could have probably not hit him,
Yeah.
but he cross-checked him in the back, and the ref just goes down, and then he just goes to the bench, and I'm almost sure the game kept going,
Yeah.
and he stayed in the game,
Yeah.
but he's suspended indefinitely now.
They just don't. They don't even give him an amount of games. It's
No,
just-
I think he's just suspended indefinitely.
Yeah, you can't touch officials.
Yeah, and there's probably a backstory, and there's probably a play that happened or a call that the ref made or official, whatever they call hockey. Well, refs are officials.
Refs, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, and I don't know. It's just hockey. I don't even know. The one thing I will say about the NHL is I think right around New Year's,
Yep.
the Winter Classic, the Canadians and Bruins,
Yeah.
they had played the week before, and Bruins beat the Canadians, and there's a little intrigue going into this game.
Yep.
Because they were kind of at the top of the division, the
Yeah.
conference.
Yep.
Last I heard, the Canadians are out of the playoffs.
Really? That
Yeah.
bad?
They hit Skid Row. I think Price, the goalie, got
Yeah.
hurt, and he
Yeah,
hasn't
he was
played.
out. He didn't play in the Winter Classic.
Yeah, and he's still been out, or he's
Yeah.
coming. But last time, and it might have been last week, the Canadians were out of the playoffs. And to be honest with you, I couldn't even tell you where the Bruins stand right now.
They're 5 or 6 last time I checked.
Are they really?
Yeah, they just
Yeah.
got their ass kicked by the Ducks though.
Oh, really?
Well, they're in their All-Star break now.
When they lose, they lose. It's
Yeah.
6-2.
They lost 6-2 the other night.
Then I believe the Dallas Stars. So
Yeah.
it's Bizarro World kind of, right? I think the Florida Panthers are the best team in the Eastern Conference.
What if you have a Florida Dallas champ
Well,
with Stanley Cup final?
Tyler Sagan, man,
Yeah.
over in Dallas. I can't believe they got rid of that kid, but a 21-year-old kid who likes to go out and drink.
Looking back, don't you sit there and say, "Man, that's a guy that we figure it out. We hire a security guard, do something."
Or I don't know, you just let him be a 21-year-old freaking kid that you're paying $1 million. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
What do you I don't know, but yeah, that kid that they had their guy, huh?
Yeah, that was every night they got to watch him in another uniform.
They had that, and now I hear that Erickson
He wants out, I heard, right?
Well, he wants a ton of money.
Yeah.
And now I'm hearing the Bruins are going to give it to him just so because if he leaves, they don't
They
really
have
have
nothing,
anything
yeah.
left. So they're going to overpay this guy who they traded their superstar for, and it's just. Doesn't it just make you appreciate what the Pats have done?
Yep.
Even with the Red Sox. The Red Sox either win the World Series or they finish in dead last.
Yeah.
They can't figure out the consistency.
Yeah.
I think it's just amazing that the Pats have been the only team. And, of course, the Bills and Dolphins and Jets, I mean, they don't. The crazy stat, it was 16 years yesterday or the day before
That Belichick.
Belichick got hired. And I think it's something since the day he took the job, there's been 151 coaches in the NFL.
I saw that since Popovich took the Spurs job, there's been 221 coaches in the NBA.
That is unbelievable. That's unbelievable.
Why can't teams why don't they get it?
I don't know.
So even if you take I take a guy like Mike Tomlin. I don't think he's a great coach, but they've been consistent with him, and they just keep. You know what I'm saying? I think you can't get
Marvin
an idiot
Lewis.
in there. Yeah,
Marvin Lewis though. Marvin Lewis is what 0-7 in the playoffs.
Whew.
At some point, you gotta be like, all right, man, but as an owner, you get that one extra game.
And where are you coming from? The Bengals used to be an embarrassment. Now they're
yeah.
at least in the playoffs, you know?
See, I'm sure some NFL owners too think
You know,
that
some of them sit there and say, hey, we're packing the place. We get an extra
we got
game.
one extra home game.
We got at least one extra home game. Most likely they would have had to go on the road next week, so that was probably their only home game. Okay,
That's like the Broncos. You know, I can picture their owners giving the fist pump and cheering because they won. They're going to play again next week.
Yeah.
I'm wondering maybe if Robert Kraft thinks that way a little bit. Bob
Yep.
Kraft. I tend to think maybe he's more of a like he legit just wants the team to win.
Yeah.
But I'm wondering if I'm so curious. I want to enjoy this while it lasts, but I can't wait until 10, 15 years when you start hearing stories about this Patriots team.
Yeah.
I want Belichick to write a book. I want Kraft. I want some dirt.
Yeah.
Because you just assume Kraft and Brady and Belichick are
They
all
all
best
go out
friends.
to dinner and they all,
Yeah,
send
and
each other Christmas cards and
Yeah, and I want to hear stories.
Yeah.
Michael Jordan story, that was good.
I laughed at some of those.
What was that? Well, so, assistant coach under the Phil Jackson era with the Bulls passed away recently, and some stories leaked out from multiple people, and they're not confirmed.
Yeah.
But just Michael Jordan stories and stories from the Bulls, and what was it, Muggsy Bogues, who was like 5'2", 5'3". And he, what did Jordan say? He shoot at you, little?
Shoot at you, effing midget. and he shot
him the shot.
and he missed like everything.
Yeah.
And he's kind of came out and said, after that day, my shot hasn't been the same.
Yeah. Oh man, Jordan.
Just getting in people's heads.
Gonna sign off. Anything else you'd like to
I think
talk
we
about?
hit it all. What are we going to talk about next week? No football game this weekend.
I was thinking leading up to this tonight. I'm like, I thought the Pats were gonna win.
Yeah.
I thought we'd do our Super Bowl special.
Yeah.
We'd start ranking Brady and Belichick. Where are they all-time greats? The Pats gonna go to another Super Bowl. How are they gonna beat the Panthers?
Yeah.
And we got the Celtics. We can talk about the Pro Bowl's on Sunday.
Yep.
So we can break that down.
Who's playing in it? Someone said that there's been
no one from the Patriots.
Yeah.
You see that?
Yeah.
7 people. They
All
all
backed
backed out. They all backed out. If you're Malcolm Butler, you're going to the Pro Bowl.
I don't. That one, I get Brady, I guess Gronkowski, but Malcolm Butler, you might never be there again.
Yeah, you like
Because even guys like Brady, his first 4, 5, 6 years, he went every year.
that was
Every year he was nominated for it.
that was the Patriots going. Nope,
Yeah.
go home. Deflategate's going to be back in the news pretty soon. They're going to have that hearing, so we can catch up on that.
PSIs are going to come out.
DH. So there was a rumor the DH was going to be in both leagues starting in 2017.
Yep.
Manfred came down and pretty much said no.
Yep.
I don't explain to me why there is not a DH in both
And actually,
leagues.
this came up at the town hall, and because they had the ownership group up, pretty much everyone that's part of it, and I know the Red Sox are all for it.
I don't understand it.
And they said that it's gaining more and more attraction with NL ownerships, front offices.
So do they have? Is the CBA is something happening?
It's
at
coming
the end
up.
of the year?
It's coming up.
So
yeah.
that's going to be negotiated into that. I don't understand why. Baseball purists, national. 2 things that really bother me in sports: no DH in the National League,
Yep.
and why the NFL doesn't have 2 MVPs for each freaking conference.
Yeah.
I don't understand that. I don't.
That's a good one. I never thought of that one.
And then the shot clock in the college basketball, they brought it from 35 to 30. It
Yeah.
it should be like 25, 24. There's no need for 30 seconds to figure out what you're doing.
Yeah.
Run
a couple plays, throw it up.
10 seconds to get the ball over half
Yeah.
court. You got 25 seconds left. No, move quicker.
Yeah.
All this freaking passing around the perimeter, Golden Bear basketball, Division III. Freaking play some basketball. So, all right, Krugs.
All good, man.
Good talk. We'll catch you next week.
Sounds good, buddy.
Later.
Thanks.